The first real job I had, if you want to call it a real job, other than, I sold Avon and I did odds and ends, different things. But actual job I had, I got at, there was a woman called Mary Wilson, and she worked at a place called Ralph Barnes Molded Plastics, and it's actually still around. It's like, I want to say I worked there around 72, 73, and I probably was there, I want to say like a year and a half, maybe 2 years, probably not more than 2 years. And so she got me a job there. It's like, basically this is, it's like when we were, like in the state and so on in the United States, we were actually manufacturing. We had a lot of manufacturing back then, and so there were a lot of plastic companies around manufacturing. Mostly what they did is they produced plumbing parts, plastic plumbing parts, but they did other things too. One of the interesting things they did is they also made, they had some eraser things for Fritos had, back then they had, you could get like, I guess it came inside the if you bought a bag of chips, it came inside the bag, and it was like, I remember having a Frito Bandito, and you put it, and they had other things too. It's like they had like, I think, a bear of some kind, cartoon bear, might have been Yogi, I don't know, it's like, I don't quite remember, but they did stuff like that too. So I was working there, and I got to know some of the people there. Some of them became friends. Unfortunately, I'm long out of touch with the people that I knew there. Haven't seen them in many decades. One of them, I think, moved back to one of the southern states. Anyway, so like I said, it's still there. I don't know exactly what they do with their manufacturing. They also, that's mostly what they did. They had one building, and then just down the street, a few doors down the street, they also had like they made helmets, motorcycle helmets, which were really bad motorcycle helmets. It's like they didn't have, I guess, safety standards back then, that requirements, and so they were really cheap, crappy motorcycle helmets, and I think they got sued a couple of times, and I don't know what happened. They probably had to bring up the standards, but basically I remember seeing them, and they had, people would buy them because, guys would buy them because they had, like, it was clear plastic, and underneath the clear plastic they had like a, like Budweiser, labels and stuff, things like that. So people would, guys would buy them and stuff. But I actually never stepped into that particular building, so I never actually saw them making it or anything. So it's like I mostly got stuck. What I got stuck with was mostly packaging orders. And I remember something Sharon Baker, one of the women I knew there, she called it the Almighty Mirada Shelf. So it was a company called Mirada that bought these plastic parts, and plastic plumbing parts in kind of in mass, and so we would package up, and we'd have to weigh it and everything, and do that. So I got to know Sharon Baker, and there was another young woman named Cheryl Jones, and of course Mary Wilson is the one that got us the job. And then there's some other people, and I don't quite remember their names. I know there was a man who was probably in his 30s, maybe 40s. He was, when you're young like that, everybody looks a lot, if you're older, everybody looks really old to you. So anyway, I'm not sure how old he was. He worked there. I remember him. It's a very sad story with him. He was a really nice guy and everything, and his wife divorced him and married one of the guys, the managers or something in the company, and so he left the company and stuff, and he started working at a liquor store, and I wish I remembered his name. So he was, happy with the liquor store thing, but unfortunately he was shot and killed by somebody came in and robbed the place, and he was shot and killed. So anyway, it's like, unfortunately, I don't think I've got a picture here. It's like, and fortunately I do have pictures, some pictures of the, it's like I have an old scrapbook thing, and of pictures, and there's and Phyllis worked there too, Phyllis Costello, and actually there's me next to Phyllis Costello, and then there's Cheryl. Let's see, there's Cheryl's standing to the right, and then right next to her, the blonde, and then right next to her, behind her, is Sharon Baker. So I got to know these people, and it's my understanding that Cheryl ended up getting married. She got married and moved to, I think, Ojai. I want to say it was Ojai. And then there's some other pictures here. It looks like it's this woman's birthday for the life of me. Unfortunately, I can't remember her name right now. I should go down to the company. I think it's still. I'm pretty sure it's still around. So and see them. And then here's a woman that was working there. She did forklift. Worked on the carried something around the forklift, and then that's Sharon Baker, right there, and it gave me a good start and stuff. And I worked there until at some point I left, and I don't remember why I left. I know I worked for another, got a job at another plastics place. And then actually at that plastic place, when I left that, I actually went to a business college. I went to South Bay College of Business from there, and I got out of the plastics thing. And actually it's kind of blurry, but here's the Sharon and Sharon and Cheryl picture. And I hope they're doing well. I hope they, they're all doing well. Let's see, and Ralph Barnes he's an older man. I'm sure Ralph Barnes probably passed away many, many years ago. And here's another picture, and it's like, I think that might be him in the picture, but it's so blurry I can't tell who it is. And that's it for the pictures. Anyway, I've been meaning to go down there, but that was like it's an interesting job. There was a guy, there was a guy named Jorge Rincon, and actually it was Jorge Rincon. It was like they had a number of Hispanic people, men working there. Actually, it was in plastic injection molding, and so they were working in the machines on the plastic injection stuff. None of the women did that. However, when I got at the plastics company, where I only worked for like several months or something, I actually was working in one of those plastic injection machines, and I don't think they do any of that kind of work anymore. I don't think it's around anymore, plastic injection. It's like molding. So at least not here in the United States. So so that's I think that's the story of it. It's like, it was an interesting part of my life. We we had a lot of fun there, with the women. I got, we'd go out, but actually somewhere I've got a picture of Cheryl and I and Sharon, and I think there was one other person. There's me. Maybe there's one other person. It's like, and we went down to Mexico. We took a trip down to Tijuana and hung out in Tijuana. And there's a picture of us in a cart, with a doggy. So, it's like, hopefully I can find that sometime. That's about all I can think about as far as the. Let's see. Yeah, she called it the Almighty Mirada Shelf. Just Mirada. And then it's like, it's like it's like the other plastics place I worked for. I remember I would ride the bike back and forth. It was off of El Segundo, and I would sometimes ride my bike to work. As far as like the going to work for Ralph Barnes, it's like one of my parents would, I guess, drop me off or something. I don't have vivid memory of it. And also Phyllis, I think, may have met her husband there or something. I know she was married for a while. I don't know what happened to her. It's like, I wish I knew what happened to Phyllis Costello. She was, she was a nice girl, and she had a sister named Tammy. And I think that's about it.